Okay, good afternoon and welcome back to term 3. I hope you guys all had a fantastic break. I hope you guys are all rested and ready for the challenges that lie ahead in term 3. I also hope you guys are staying warm. I don't know about you, but I have been ice cold the past few days. So guys, please stay warm, stay indoors and practice your chess. A nice additional motivation to sit and get that brain working. All right, I decided that to do a nice recap for this first lesson of the term. We'll do some mates just to get those brains firing. Then we've got a little bit of a queen and minor piece end game that I want to look at. I actually did a video on the queen and minor piece end game. I think it was probably the last video before the end of term 2, where I sort of went through what you want to be doing. So I'll recap that. Then we've got a nice rook and pawn sort of end game just to finish things off. Alrighty. So guys, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we have a nice mate in 1. I think you guys have been looking at it now for probably a couple minutes already. Who's got the move for me? Mate in 1, white to play. I'll give you a bit of background once we've found or figured out the move. Guys, remember, once you're participating, please get involved. If you get it wrong, it's no problem at all. Rather participate and get it wrong than just sit there and stare at the screen blankly. I guarantee you're going to learn a little bit more if you get involved. So let's see who's got what. All right, we've got someone in the waiting room. Thank you for those of you who are on time today. Much appreciated. Good stuff. Okay, for those of you who just joined, it is, we've already begun, and it's mate in 1. We're looking at a mate in 1 for white. I'll give you guys a clue. The move is with the queen. I think most of us should have seen this already. Remember, type your answers in on the Zoom or the Lichess chat. Make your life a little bit, so that we can all see. Well, only I will see, actually, and so don't worry about getting it wrong or other people seeing if you make a mistake. Like I said, mistakes are part of learning, guys, so no harm. All right, it seems like nobody is raising their hand to give us a solution here. I think I will have to help us with the first one. All right, and that is queen takes f7 mate. Guys, this position should be fairly familiar to just about all of you because this is a 4-move checkmate, also known as the scholar's mate, and in some circles, the fool's mate. So definitely one that we need to be aware of. We can imagine e4, e5, bishop c4, bishop c5, then white has played queen f3, black has then played knight c6, and now, boom. Just bear in mind that black could have at any stage rather just played knight f6. And knight f6 would have stopped the queen from being able to access this f7 square, and therefore putting a stop to the 4-move checkmate. 4-move checkmate, just in case you're wondering, is not good. It's definitely ill-advised. Don't do it. It's very dangerous. Often people just lose their queen because they're trying to win a cheap game, and it's just not a good idea. So mainly whenever we talk about 4-move checkmate or the scholar's mate, it's mainly to teach you guys not to fall for the trick, not necessarily so that you can do the trick. Let's move. Apologies about that. All right, so this one, all right, very similar along the paths of the fool's mate. Very, very similar. White to play mate in 1. Let's see who's got the goods. Look at all possible checks. I think that should always be your first step. You want to look at where can I check the king? Where is it check? What options do I have? Are they good? It's a good place to start. All possible checks. All possible checks. I can only really see one, actually. Kind of makes your life easy because when there's only one check, it's like, you don't really have that much to consider. So we're looking for a mate in one, and I'd love any answers to come from you guys, either in the Lichess chat or in the Zoom chat. Get involved, guys. Let's see what you got. Because you don't want me to do all of these solutions for you. That just makes life a little bit too easy, hey? What we got there? All right, Queen H5 from Rico. Thank you very much, young man. And Rico is correct, as he very often is. All right, what have we got here? Queen H5. Nice and easy. I will just say normally bringing out the queen early is not a good idea, but of course, as we know, chess is one of those games where there are many exceptions to the rule, where breaking the rule is actually good. And yes, well spotted, young man. We've got a checkmate. Always, if you want to see if it's checkmate, what do you have to see? You have to make sure that the king is in check first and foremost. Of course, it can't be mate if it's not check. Okay, so it has to be check, and then we can see if it's mate, and then we can see what available squares or where the king could potentially run to, how they could stop the check. This is the only way, and the queen is quite easily covering that diagonal. Nice and easy, well spotted. As I said, this part of a 3-move checkmate, where these probably are the worst 2 moves on the board because they just open this diagonal to the king. And as we know, opening rules, rather develop your central or move your central pawns so that you can develop your pieces. So don't move these pawns in the beginning. In fact, it's probably a good idea not to move these pawns at all. We know that we're going to castle this side and that these pawns are sort of going to be a shield. So a nice additional, some nice additional information there. Let's move on. All right, new position. It looks like Black's a piece up. Black's got an extra bishop on the board. He's pretty happy about that, I'm sure. Probably looks like he's got a nice sort of advantage going on here. White to play, mate in 1. Let's see what we got, guys. All possible checks. That's the first thing. You should be scouring the board. Where can I check him? How can I attack that king? What can I do? We've got bishop e8. I'm pretty sure he made rook e8. Anybody else got anything to add to this position? Any move will do. Very nice. Okay, we've got a nice rook e8 from Victoria. Thank you. Rook e8. We had bishop e8. I know you meant rook e8 in any case. It's all good. Rook e8 is the mating move. Guys, this is a back row or a back rank checkmate. What do we mean by that? We mean that the king has been checkmated on the back rank. Remember the ranks are the numbers. So this is the 8th rank, the 5th rank, the 2nd rank, the 1st rank. So the ranks, and then remember it's files. The A file, the E file, the H file. Just some extra info there. So back rank or back row checkmate, the king is sort of caged in by his own pawns. And a bit of an unfortunate one. We know from previous examples that a nice, easy way to prevent this from happening is to play h6 or even g6. And what that will do is just open up one of these squares so that the king can access that square. So you don't fall victim to this type of thing. All right, nicely spotted. Thank you, guys. Well done. Let's move. White to play, mate in 1. Let's keep the moves coming. Again, look at those possible checks. Should I check him there? Maybe. Where will his king run? What could he do? It's a pretty standard position. I'm sure most of you would have seen this before. We've got Rico involved. Very nice, Rico. I'm going to keep that move to myself just for a second. We'll see if anybody else comes up with a solution of some kind, just so I don't give it away. I'm very good at that, just giving away the answer. See, now you have to choose one, Rico. You can't have both, you know. You can't choose two moves. You kind of have to choose one. Think of it like a multiple choice question. You can't choose A and B. You need to choose one or the other. Obviously, when it's time to move, you only get to make one move. So you need to decide which is the move. Of course, I like both of those ideas because that's the type of thing you need to be looking at. You need to look at all the possible checks. But before you can decide which is the best one, you often need to establish, what options you have before you can jump right in. And we've got a nice move from Victoria. Very nice. Okay. So guys, we've got Queen H7. We've also got Bishop H7. So most of the time when I'm looking to checkmate the king, I will lead with the queen. You'll go first with the queen and you'll put the queen closer to the king. She will help to occupy more squares and make it more difficult for the opposition king. So queen takes h7 is mate. Well done, Rico and Victoria. Good stuff, guys. Most important thing is that the queen is defended. I mean, always, if I'm moving the queen near to the king, you need to ensure that that queen is defended by a piece. Otherwise, you're just going to drop your queen for free, and then that will be a tragedy. Obviously, we don't want that. So let's just examine bishop takes and just see the difference. So bishop takes, you see this square is now available. So yes, the check is there. Yes, I can't take the bishop, but I do have h8 as an available square. So it's not mate. It could still be mate. You can see that this line is looking quite good for white. So wherever I move the light squared bishop, white's bishop, I can even move it to a dodgy square like this. You can't take the bishop because it's check. So this is what's called a discovered check. I move a bishop and I discover the check with the queen. The king has to go to g8 and the mate comes on queen h7 in any case. Of course, it would be more efficient to have just played queen h7 straight away, but just some additional information. And guys, probably what should have happened, black's knight should have been developed to f6, my apologies, like white's knight's been developed to f3, and then that knight helps to defend the h7 square. So of course it's a better square to develop the knight here. He has additional, let's say, moves or functions when he's here. You could also have put a bit of pressure and probably white's queen wouldn't be sitting so comfortably on h5 as well. Let's move. White to play, mate in one. Same story, guys. Keep those answers coming in. I'm loving the participation. So you got to look at all those checks. Can't be mate if it's not check. Looks like a pretty even game. 5 pawns aside, queen and rook aside. So it's pretty close. It's been a tough battle. We can see that. We now approach the end game. And like we said, white has a juicy move here. First answer comes in. Very nice. Thank you, Rico. Who else has got somebody or something, rather, to offer us? What else is there lurking in the midst? A solution of some kind. Need to move this out of the middle. Queen f7. Thank you, Victoria. All right, so let's check that out. I don't trust it. First things first, we've got rook d8 and we've got queen f7. So both are valid, both are checks. We've got to investigate both. So rook d8 is our first move that we're going to look at, and it looks pretty good. It's a back rank check. At first glance, it appears to me like, hey, black can just block with the rook. But then once I look a little bit deeper, I see, hey, wait a second. This queen is pinning the rook to the king. And what that means is that the rook is unable to move, because if he moves anywhere, it doesn't really matter where, he can't move off this diagonal, because then he's moving the king into check. Okay. And as we well know, the king cannot move into check. You're not allowed to make a move that puts your king in danger or allows them to sort of take your king. As we know, you can't take the king in any case. So that was a good one, rook d8. Queen f7, it's the type of move I always look at. You've got to try and get in there, get right into that. But like we said, if you are going to put the queen near to the opposition king, you need to ensure that that queen is protected, that that queen is defended. Who is defending this queen? That's the first question. And unfortunately, it does seem like nobody. And there we're just going to drop the queen, unfortunately. But like we said, it's good. I want participation. You got an answer wrong. It's no problem whatsoever. You're going to learn a lesson here. You're going to say, aha, next time I won't make that mistake again. And that way you would have improved just a little bit every time. That's what we want. All right, so we had rook d8. And if I were to turn it on its head and say black to play, black can actually just take this queen for free. Let's say it was black's move. Black just takes queen on b3, so I could like play h3 just to make it black's move. Queen takes b3, which would prevent it from being made, because now rook d8, there's no more of this. So rook f8 blocks the check, resolves the issue. Okay, and then this would be a very, very easy win for black. Gobbling up some pawns and probably just promoting. I mean, you can see I can just gobble this one and promote this one, and then it'll be fairly easy. Next, a little bit of a tricky one. I actually like this puzzle. White to play mate in one. Let's see if we can solve it, guys. Like I said, I like it because it's a little bit different. It's a little bit tricky. It's not sort of your standard checkmate. And just make sure whenever you're looking at the checks that the opponent's king doesn't have anywhere to escape the check. If it's mate, that means he cannot escape the check. Most crucial. So all possible checks. How many can I see here? 1, 2, 3. There's 3 checks that you need to be examining and saying to yourself, well, is that check any good? I don't know. What can he do there? And that's what we all do. That's what all chess players do. It's no magic. You got to use calculation. You got to use those brains. And the solution has rolled in. It looks good, doesn't it? Thank you, Victoria. It's a nice move. Does look good. Who else has got something for us? Thank you, Lee. All right, we'll see if we'll give it another couple seconds to see if we can get one more solution out of you guys. So we've had rook h7, we've had knight f7, Both interesting, both check, and both worth examining. Absolutely. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start with rook h7. So rook h7, it looks like at first glance, I thought it was going to be mate. Lee has changed his mind to knight g6. Good call, Lee. Very good call. Let's just deal with rook h7 first. So rook h7, the king can't move. Well, he can't move to g8, but he can take the rook. Very much the same kind of story. If you're going to move a piece next to the king, you need to make sure that piece is protected. Otherwise, the king will eat your pieces. Okay, he's old and slow, but he can still eat, and that's a crucial one to remember. Okay, so this one unfortunately off the cards, but it's a check and definitely one of the moves that we had to look at. Knight f7 check is the next one on the cards. Yes, it's check. A little bit tricky though, because you can see that when the king is now able to move to g8, because the bishop is now being blocked off by the knight. Okay, the bishop is not defending this g8 square. Whereas if we rewind it back to the original position, the bishop was covering the square because, of course, as we know, he covers the entire diagonal, which is exactly why you want your bishop to have a nice long diagonal, because he controls everything there. If I, for whatever reason, put this pawn in front of him, he's now just hemmed in or blocked in by his own pawn, which is, of course, not useful. And then we changed it up to knight g6, which is the correct move. And the reason this just looks very nice, because black is unable to take the knight because the pawn is pinned. So he'd be moving himself into check, which, as we know, he's not allowed to do. So if you tried to play a move with black here on the machine, it won't let you. It won't let you play this move because you know, the program's designed like that. It won't let you make an illegal move. In fact, when it's mate, it doesn't let you do anything. It's just stuck. So, but that's nice. Good work, guys. Really, really nice effort. I'm happy with that. Maiden ones, definitely keeping you guys sharp. But we can see what black's problem is here. Lack of development. No development. These pieces still taking a nap here at the back. And this is exactly why you need to develop your pieces. It's part of our opening rules. Remember, pawns in the center, develop your pieces, castle your king. Don't waste time. Activate your pieces. These guys are just sitting here doing absolutely nothing while the king gets mated. All right, good one. Let's move on. All right, so like I said in the start, I did do a video on this, and I think the main point here is, of course, I think we know the queen is far more powerful than the bishop, but the simplest route to victory, and that's what we always want, guys. We want the easiest road, the simple path to the win. There's no need in complicating this. You always want to choose the simple route or simple road to victory. Simple chess is good chess, okay? We've spoken about this before. So what we want to do, we want to win this bishop. Somehow, I'm going to take that bishop, just help myself to it, and then it'll be a simple L-shaped method checkmate. All right, nice and easy. So how are we going to win this bishop? Well, we have to attack it. So let's start with king f4, easy move. Yes, I'm going to eat the bishop. So I think it's worth mentioning here that white needs to try and keep the bishop and the king together. Because if it splits, if they split up, then it's going to be easy for black to just win that bishop. So like, for instance, let's say here. Okay. Bishop. Now there's quite a big distance between the king and the bishop, and there's almost always a source of calculation to win this piece. So let's look at check. White has two options, king c4, king c2. Both are going down because of queen e2. This is called a double attack, where the queen attacks. It's not just the queen. Double attacks occur with other pieces, but in this case, the queen is attacking both pieces at the same time. Of course, it is check. You have to deal with the check, which means you have to get out of the check, which means I'm grabbing a bishop for free, which I'm quite happy about. So here, and then queen takes g2. That's a free piece, and that's good news. So after this, I think it'll be quite easy for us to just do the L-shaped method and win the game accordingly. Let's go back. Let's try and find a better move for white. I'm going to go bishop e2 is also failing to queen e3. So I'm going to go with bishop d1 to see if I can try and make this a little bit more challenging. Okay. So let's go check. Of course, keeping the pressure on the bishop. King c2. Now I'm going to go king e3. I'm dancing around on the dark squares with the king because I know if I stay on the dark squares, the light squared bishop's not going to do anything to me. I'm also now threatening queen d2 check, which means I pick up the bishop, which is fantastic news. Let's say bishop, nah, he sees this coming. He knows it's coming. He's like, oof, he's not happy with that. He's going to go bishop here. Now, let's see if we can find a double attack, a move that attacks the king and the bishop at the same time, guys. Let's see what you guys can find. Double attack, both pieces at the same time. Oh, nicely spotted. Rico with queen c4. Beautiful move. And that does the trick. We attack both pieces at the same time. The king has to move out of the check. Doesn't really matter where he goes. And the bishop drops. Ooh. Okay, bishop drops. And now it's checkmate time. All right, let's see how quickly we can do this. So the king runs L shape straight away. Now we follow. He runs to the corner. Do we follow? Absolutely not. Otherwise we stalemate. That's no good. Let's just bring the king in. Boom. And that's how we do it. Quick and easy. Guys, that's how I want you doing it. Remember, if you've got extra time, which I'm sure a few of you have, practice your checkmates. It's one of those type of things that you can never really do too much of. You can't become too good at it. It's not wasting your time in any way. So it's always a good use of your time. Rook and pawn. So the main objective here that I really wanted to show you guys is that sometimes it's easier to win a chess game than it looks at first sight. If you look at this, you can see black's got an extra rook, but he's really only 2 pawns to the good. He's only 2 pawns up because white has 5 pawns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, against the rook that's 5 for 5. And then black rather, sorry, has an extra 2 pawns. So what we're going to do here, this white brings his king in, is we're going to find the simplest route to victory. And that simple route is taking all these pawns and then marching our passed pawn up the board. It's not actually a great deal that white can do. I'll try to move this to make this a little bit more tricky. I was going to bring king in, but then it looked like rook check was going to be, which I was going to do in any case. So I'm going to mop these pawns up, which it feels like there's almost nothing that white can do about this. I'm attacking this one now. King here. Rook takes. King here. Now, quite a cool technique. Of course, this king is en route to this pawn. However he's going to get there. Maybe he'll go this way. Maybe he'll go this way. We're not sure yet. But what we're going to do with this rook is we're going to prevent this king from getting to the pawn. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're just going to cut him off. We're going to go rook a8, king e5. Yes, he's en route. No, he's not. And kind of this is a line of lava, just preventing the king. He cannot get past this line, which means there's nothing he can do to stop this pawn from promoting. And that's what this example is all about. So we mopped up some pawns, and now, he can't really do anything to prevent this pawn just from cruising up the board. White's gonna create a pass pawn here as well. But you can see this pawn is going nowhere. And I've promoted, which means easy peasy. I'm gonna use rook and queen, and I'm gonna do the ladder. And life is gonna be very easy here. Let's see how quickly we can do this. Let's go king here. Let's cut him off straight away. Zoom, cut the line. And now you can see the ladder is about to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice and easy, a successful ladder. And you see, when you know what you're doing, then you can do it nice and easily. Okay, I think when you guys are doing your games, I wouldn't want you to move that quickly, because I'd want you to just, be careful and not run the risk of making any mistakes. Because quick moves equal mistakes, and this is something we've spoken about. Guys, we've still got some time left. I'd love it if you would all play maybe 1 or 2 games on the lead chess. Remember, practice makes perfect. I want you guys basically, I would love it if you would play a game every single day, actually. I'm not sure how the schedules look, but practice, like we said, practice is very important if you want to master a topic. And I'd love it if you guys could play a game a day. Anyway, in the meantime, let's at least use the next half an hour to play some chess games. I will be online, so I will be watching you guys. Please do the chess program that we've set out for you guys. That is also going to be good practice for you, just to keep those brains practicing while we're not doing chess lessons. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Great weekend, and I will see you guys all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.